All right, everybody, we're back. It's round 7 from the last chance qualifier for the WESPA World Championship. And we've got another game with two players who are kind of on the bubble, needing a win desperately to stay in the thick of things in that top 10. Once again, I'm Will Anderson, joined by former world champion David Eldar. It's an
Hey
exciting
guys.
game here coming up.
Yeah, this is high stakes stuff. I mean, you could either be playing the championships with the best of them, or you could be spending 4 days at the slot machines waiting for your friends to finish, slowly draining away what happiness you have.
Wow, that the stakes are higher than I even imagined.
Yeah.
Clearly, and Bradley going first here, and let's see that 7th tile.
Okay, that's viable.
We like to see the S,
Yeah.
but anyway, he's got some.
What do we actually think here? What can happen with UNCI? I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean, I'm drawn to play Unsee here,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering
Where would you play?
where indeed. So the trick with Unsee, the plural of Uncas,
Ah,
is that it
Unkai.
also takes an A hook for Uncia. So you have to be a little worried about where you place it
Yeah.
because that A hook could be damaging. If you were to play it, for example, with the N on the star and your opponent had an A in just the right spot, it could be a pretty heavy counter. It's not that likely though.
Five
Um,
crab exchange seems viable. It is viable, but I don't think it's gonna outrun the equity of just playing Unkai.
yeah, I think I don't mind playing here.
What is this? A hook-shaped anatomical part, for example?
Yeah, is this for like a single-celled organism,
Yeah.
or like do I have an uncus somewhere in
Yeah.
my guts or
Where
something?
are the Unkai?
I just don't know. So we're gonna see. Okay, so here,
Oh,
all right, uni, an interesting variation. I do feel like I prefer slightly playing the C here, but I appreciate why he's done this.
yeah, you gotta play the
Um,
C there, but it's not the end of the world.
he's at least setting up the fact that he has an S. And what are we seeing here?
Sedgiest.
Sedgiest. Wow. Okay, so there was pretty much no avoiding getting hit with this bingo apart from exchanging tiles. But
What is sedge? Is that like grass or something?
sedge, yeah, I think of sedge as some kind of like undergrowth or
So is that
something.
like a grassiest type of word?
Yeah, or like weediest or
Okay.
something like that.
Bordered by sedge.
Okay, very
Thanks.
helpful definition
Thanks,
there.
dictionary.
Sedgiest means having sedge.
A plant like grass. Oh, oh, sorry. A plant like grass, excuse me, with a solid stem.
Stem. Okay, there we go. And we're even going to plant. Really getting down. That's kind of like when you're a little child and you ask why, like why is that the
I wish you
case?
could post pictures on the Twitch chat. I mean, so I could see what a sedge looks like.
Yeah, that's true. We need some way to like chat GPT that. But all right. So anyway, nice play by Victor to start off on the right foot. This oddly ominous score of 6-66.
I guess Brad's going to be looking for some sort of fishy play, but I don't know if there actually are any great
Yeah.
fishes available. By the way, we got a grass expert in the chat, Aria, maybe from
Oh
Brantford.
yeah,
Grasses,
Ari.
sedges, and rushes are three totally different things.
Okay. Where was Ari when we needed that input on the forestry question of the
Yeah, it's the
poultcher,
man, dog, and the
as
horse.
well as the midshipmen from the snotties out on the open
By
seas?
the way, quiz for the chat that could become very relevant. What is Victor's rack plus a C?
Very nice. I think, am I crazy that also is clearage? Clearage is a word.
That's a much more common word.
Yeah. Oddly, I think clearage is only in the
Wait, how are we
UK
spelling? Oh,
dictionary.
really?
Yeah.
That's just where the forest isn't, right?
I know. I think that's on my list of words that I think should be good in the US dictionary, but isn't.
Cellarage. Wow, I didn't know that.
Very nice.
Circlage.
Um,
Yep. Thanks, guys. Clearage is a common word. Yes,
oh,
that's where you go
never
to the
mind.
forest and there's not any trees, and
Oh,
it's like a big space of land, right?
okay. Maybe I'm wrong about.
That's a clearance challenge.
No, I was right. It is Collins only. So
Damn, maybe I am wrong. Only
this is
200k Google hits.
the stuff I
Clearing.
have to
Oh,
know.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Mandela effect, anybody?
So yeah, it's tough. A couple suggest. I mean, it's not great when somebody in the chat suggested LUN through the U of uni for Bradley
God,
for 3 points.
Can you actually fish here? I think you might just have to play a word. But what word?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. LENG, right? LENG is the answer.
Through the E of Segius.
Yeah.
That might be
Yeah.
as good as you can do.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. Okay. This is tough though. I'm not surprised he's spending so much time on it.
Yeah, it's a classic situation. It looks like he's going to play Glenn, which is a similar variation on the same theme here. I don't mind
Maybe
it.
he doesn't know leng because it just means long, but apparently it's a verb too.
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask.
It's everything.
To tarry. What's tarry? To be late?
Tarry is to like stay.
Okay.
Too long.
Lun is terrible. That you can't do that.
Yeah, I guess the problem with lun is just that the leave of CINGS is kind of deceptively not that good.
Yeah. Oh, counterfish. Interesting.
Teg for Victor. I didn't really even get a chance to see if he had any better play through the G of Glen to the triple there.
Oh, there's not much on here.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a weird pair of plays there. There's not too much going on, and it looks like
Synciput, it's gone.
Yeah, that's no longer available. A crazy bingo through a U would have been blocked by either Lang or Glenn.
Yeah. Does anyone know this rack plus an I?
Another extremely impressive bingo that unfortunately we will not be seeing with no open eye available.
Incipit's very good. And who knows the plural of synciput? And it's anagram.
Oh God. These are great quiz questions for you all. Don't be ashamed if you do not know the answer. That puts you in a group with me and presumably many of you.
Very nice, J.N. Moran.
Very nice. Great find. So anyway, the actual business of what should Bradley do here, I saw pieing suggested.
That's a great find. Whoever found that, it's hard to see.
Instead, he'll play icing, which is very close to as good as pieing. I would give the C a bit of a nod over the P in terms of there just happened to be a few more 7 and 8 letter words with a C in them than a P in them.
Ooh, nice bingo available for Victor through the C. Wait, no, there isn't. Sorry, I misread.
Is there? Oh, did you think?
Yeah, clerical? I thought it was clerical.
Yeah, no.
Okay, almost. He has a 7 on his rack, but that doesn't play. Does he have anything? Any geniuses in the chat?
Yeah, this is so close.
Wow, is that another non?
It's agonizing when you have tiles like that, which are so promising, but somehow the board just doesn't.
Why y'all holler? Spit that, don't play.
Emmy Hill is saying we should spend less time on words that are not playable on the board.
Okay.
Noted.
All right.
Appreciate that, though it is fun.
Wow, cereal is related to ceres, a species of turkey oak. Well, I don't know. This is interesting to me. I mean, I like words.
It is. I didn't realize that. For some reason, it sounds kind of like a cloud.
Yeah, it sounds like
cirrus.
It sounds just like. Wait, what am I seeing here? Oh, okay.
Ooh, Searles. What an interesting choice. That is.
Yeah, so Victor may not be 100% aware that keeping 5 of those tiles together was probably best there.
Yeah. So close to a bingo with those tiles and using 4 of them here for not so high of a score. Maybe his thinking was just that on this board with a lead that he has, he would like to block the S of Segius. That makes some sense. But certainly with his tiles so close to bingoing, I think we both would like to see him play fewer.
Absolutely. Now for Brad, we've got interesting stuff like mump under teg or bump and teg you.
Oh, yeah, that would be very nice.
I think mump, it's looking pretty deadly. It's a lot of points.
Setting up that S really powerfully.
Absolutely.
As well. So,
yeah. Wait,
instead, oh man, it looks like
cautious man.
Yeah, he's going to cash his S here. So this is a very different approach. So bumps and glens will score a little bit more, but only slightly than the plays that we were just advocating with playing underneath tag with mump setting up that S in such a valuable positioning there.
Yeah.
But Bradley clearly uncomfortable with that level of risk.
Whoa, that is fast.
The counter from Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
BAYE.
no, is it Bay or Ribeye?
I think he's playing Bay.
Okay. Whoops.
Yeah. And that seems just fine to
Yeah, I guess
me.
that is fine. But you know what, guys? This is the classicest of classic spots where you play your immediately obvious play, and there is a slightly better play available if you just spent more than 20 seconds looking for ribeye, which I think is like a very minor improvement, right? It's probably pretty close, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I do also agree in general with I mean, I often go into games, telling myself that I'm going to play with good pace. I'm going to play fast. But it really is a scary proposition because there are definitely a bunch of turns where if you just spent 5 extra seconds, you would see a superior option.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
using that time wisely is kind of a science.
yeah. MITT for Brad now is pretty obvious, right?
Almost forced, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he could play Muter at the top right if he's extra paranoid.
True. Muter would score well underneath Bay, the previous play of Victor, making a bunch of overlaps. The negative of it, of course, would be leaving 2 Ts.
Yeah.
And with an option available to get rid of 2 of the 3
Yeah.
underneath Teg with just Mitt. And it looks like he is getting ready to play this.
I think Brad's a pretty fearless player in general. I've played him quite a lot. He's not too worried about dangling an S hook, I reckon. Maybe. We're about to see. But a lot of players would be totally paranoid. Oh my God, my opponent has an S.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is that you have to look at the board and see, are you making an S hook that doesn't exist anywhere else on the board?
It's true.
And the fact is that you are making a much more powerful S hook than exists with icings, but it's not that terrible to make a new one here.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're going to switch into lesson mode here, I mean, MITT sets up the S hook, and yeah, your opponent will score 40 points or whatever if they have the last S, which is not that likely.
That's a great
But
point.
the average score is already 40.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's enough stuff here between the underlaps under BAYE in the upper right, the triple word score in the lower middle of the board from that R. You could easily see a very high scoring play go down from that R, a 6-letter word, reaching the triple, scoring upwards of 40 points. So there are plenty of options for a clever player to score well here. In addition to, you never know, your opponent might have a bingo that plays somewhere completely different, and your choice does nothing to alter it.
Absolutely. I think Brad is mustering up the courage at this high stakes moment to take a risky play with Mitt.
And it is a high stakes moment just because with 3 losses already on his ledger here, getting another one is going to make things very difficult for him to make that top 10 and qualify for WESPA, which I do think Bradley is a good enough player. Maybe a victim of a very deep U.S. set of players qualifying. Because I do think of him as somebody who kind of belongs in the WESPA.
He's tough. Do you think he could be thinking about MITT over Searles, like through the I, keeping RITE?
That would be quite a large sacrifice on the scoreboard.
It's 11 points less, but it keeps an I, which improves your leave by like what, 5, 6? I don't know.
It does. I do worry a little that one of the good spots for him to play would be through the I, the first I of icing, if he's able to draw an IER word. So keeping the I.
I actually meant the I of Searles.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just saying by keeping an I on your rack, it's not like.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Now I understand the duplicate eyes.
It's not a really big
I get
difference.
You now.
And he is going to play Muter.
Okay.
So this is a clear theme now between bumps and Muter of Bradley just being a little bit unwilling to open anything up for Victor here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe he wants to play closed.
Yeah, I certainly would, as you say, I think of Brad as being kind of fearless.
Yeah, me too, actually.
So this
is eye-opening.
It could be a strategy that he's settled on.
Wow, that was an unusual play.
AGA immediately.
Okay.
So the thing about it is that he had 3 A's, so it obviously makes sense that he wants to use 2 of them. But
Yeah.
why there?
And why keep the B? I don't know. Maybe he thinks the B is good. Yeah, it's quite possible. Like, if you haven't spent a lot of time looking at computer screens, but now we do know that the B is quite a bad letter that you don't want to hang on to in almost any situation.
Yeah, it's just one of those letters, every letter in Scrabble, we know even the least experienced home player knows that all the letters in Scrabble have different point values. And I definitely think the B is a classic letter that would probably be much better if it were worth 4 points, but instead it's only 3. So it doesn't,
Yeah.
some of the drawbacks of the B doesn't appear in 7 and 8 letter words all that much.
Yeah.
You'd probably want to see that tile be worth 4 to be appropriately valued.
That said, we're about to get schooled here. I mean, look at his rack. Where would that be? Where would that be without the B?
That's a good point. So he's got beardier, beardy, and let's see, where else is that?
Yeah, a couple of people pointing out he could have played anal or AA under YEA and ERA for a couple more points. He didn't seem too worried about that. I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a few points. It's not really the end of the world, honestly. I probably just wanted to play quickly. He saw his opponents spend a super long time on mid. I honestly think he wanted to push him.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. The time gap is actually, I wasn't really attuned to it, but it is shockingly huge.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing.
Victor has made several of his plays nearly instantly, so that's got to be.
The African players in general are very fast, and I do think they really like pushing you on time. From my experiences, I don't know if they like pushing you on time or if they're just fast or if it's some combination of both. I also think someone might have mentioned that they play on 15-minute clocks at home. Could that be accurate?
If so, that explains a whole lot.
I'm fairly certain they play on shorter clocks than we do.
But that makes a lot of sense to why they would be so comfortable playing with such pace here.
Yeah.
Ben in the chat, who has tons of experience in high-level competition, suggesting that in his experience that he does experience a lot of fast play from the Nigerian contingent. And it's not just fast, it's pretty accurate play too.
Yeah, it is. Ooh, keeping the B again.
That B, yeah.
All right. Let's see where it goes.
We'll see. That play in a vacuum looks like a really nice way to score a few points, keep some decent bingo letters, except for the B, and just continue on holding that narrow lead. But it really isn't that big of a lead.
I'll tell you what, I'm enjoying this game.
There's been plenty to cut our teeth into here.
Yeah, there's lots of interesting players, lots of interesting thoughts. Pretty tight.
So we're getting our wish.
It's gonna explode.
You think so?
It could. I mean, where is this going to go? It has to go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we're going to see a blank come out.
Yep.
We haven't seen that yet.
Yep. Things are going to get wild. But now what? Etna, ETNA, EFT.
We did ask for a close game. That's true. As Kitty Catastrophe says. Yeah. So icings, I do expect to get played at that almost. I can't even imagine that getting blocked. Right. So
someone here says, is Victor from Nigeria or Ghana? I actually, for some reason, I think he's from Ghana, and it's probably the flag on his arm.
Looking carefully, there is a context clue that he may be Ghanaian.
Sorry, guys. Oh no, actually, I don't know if I said anything otherwise, but if I did, my apologies.
Yeah. So yeah, that's seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
From context there.
So what now? Etna, right? I mean, that's just scoring the most.
Underneath fit. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's a really hard spot, though.
I think he'll be looking there.
So few words with TN in a row that I'm not sure he will think of that. It requires a bit of outside of the box thinking. Just looking up all my TN words right now.
I mean, even if he doesn't spot that, it would not be ideal for him to keep 2 N's, but even a play like TOE under there is going to be a decent option for him. Of course, you want to use one of your 2 N's here, duplicated tiles being that classic thing you're trying to avoid in Scrabble, because every tile has its unique attributes, and when you have 2 of the same tile, you're kind of depriving yourself of some of those attributes of a different letter that you might have instead.
And it's hard on this where people can tend to spend a lot of time on these kind of racks.
As Bradley goes into below 10 minutes so early in the game.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to see some fast plays from Victor and from Brad, actually.
Yeah,
Who
I think
will play faster?
both
I honestly
players,
think it'll be close.
Yeah, both players are going to need to. Well, obviously Victor doesn't need to, but he has a heavy incentive to play as fast as he can as he's watching that clock tick down.
Oh, the pressure. I'm dying here.
Is there no? Yeah, there's really no real.
What is Victor going to play next turn, by the way?
He has wider set up on his rack. I'm not 100% sure where he hopes to play that yet.
Getting ready. He's getting ready.
He's just hoping that he gets a place to play
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I mean, after Etna, you could easily see him try to play underneath.
Ooh.
But that would be a little scary.
I don't know, man. This has been a pretty paranoid game. I feel
has.
like there's a lot of fear. And I don't blame them. I'd be, if I was in this spot right now, 3-3,
you said it yourself.
Get kicked out, about to spend the rest of the week on the slots.
You said that yourself at the outset here.
I wouldn't be opening anything.
The reason for fear, the difference between competing in Scrabble at the highest level and rotting your brain playing with slot machines.
Oh my god!
Is a stark difference.
I'm dying just thinking about it.
So the players are faced with that reality here.
Oh, good lord!
So yeah.
If he struggles with time on closed boards, he shouldn't be playing bumps and muter.
I mean, that's a fair point. It's a fair point. So yeah, we'll have to see. I think he's getting ready to play TEA under fit, but I really wish he would play.
Ooh, yucky.
His O here.
Yeah, that's a big miss if he does overlook it, which it does look like might happen.
Oh,
unless he's teasing us. Are we being teased?
Oh no, never mind. So Toia would be the play that he would play there, which isn't
that's
great.
Not too bad. I mean, it's not as well. T is much worse, basically.
We'll see. He's definitely. Man, what is he?
Okay, you just gotta play a word now, dude.
Yeah, this clock situation is getting critical.
Oh, by the way, I'm being asked, are you going to stick around poker for Westpac Eldar? No, I am not. Keeping two N's isn't that -8. NN, I don't think it's worse than II. Someone can actually.
I think in general, I found it to be a bit of a leak in my own game to overestimate how bad combinations like NN and TT are, certainly as part of bingo leaves that contain an S and good balanced vowels.
Rank your least favorite duplicate letters.
It's definitely not N or T. I think most of us hate I extreme amounts for obvious reasons, but I feel like I don't love L's. Duplicated L's are extremely annoying.
They're a nightmare. -6 in the most recent leaves for NN, which makes sense to me. Slightly better than I. In my head, I can feel that. I can understand more. And the reason is because there's a lot of 3-letter words with NN, and there's one 3-letter word with II. NN is just eminently more playable.
So it does. Yeah, it looks like finally Bradley has spotted the play that David, you mentioned minutes ago as our favorite option here. I think we really like this, and it needs. I just can't believe it's not on the board yet. Wow.
Is he not sure? Did he forget?
He's gone a totally different direction. Playing Nona's, that's so bizarre to see Etna get spelled out there, which looks like it plays so nicely underneath, and instead we see Nona's be played. I wonder how quickly Victor is going to try to make his next play.
Quickly.
And the answer is nearly instantaneously. Off comes that
looks
B.
Looks like a good play, too.
It does.
I like Dib a lot here.
Yeah, it looks very good to me. Getting that B off. He has way too many consonants compared to his vowels, so he hasn't used a vowel here. I think that was a pretty accurate play and made instantaneously.
Yeah, that was good. Good thinking from Victor. I mean, now if you have an obvious play or a play that's best like 80 to 90% of the time, you probably just want to slap it down.
Yeah, this I think needs to be something like novates and fit with the extra T.
Yeah,
that's going to
score.
Here.
That's going to score.
You have to play that as fast as you see it.
Yep, put that down right now, Mr. Man.
So yeah, for those that are saying, "Huh, that's weird." Well, I mean, novates is already a weird word, I'm sure, to many of us, but FITT is also kind of an odd one. But I know that Bradley knows both of those, and he should spot that.
Volanti EFGI. That would be a good second option.
That looks, yep, that looks solid.
Come on, bro. Put
Whatever it
the
is, it's
word.
gotta be, yeah. I think many of you in the chat, along with the two of us here, are in agony here
Oh my god,
with this
I'm
time
having
situation.
vicarious time crunch.
I mean, how much time would you want to have in a normal, like, how much time would you feel is on track for this
Right
part of the
now,
game?
like
I would say 15 minutes. Yeah,
yeah.
I would
And
say
I would usually
15.
give myself 18 so I don't get nervous.
Yeah, yeah, something like 15,
Yeah.
16. So to be at 4 is
Oh
really
my god.
scary.
Yeah.
That being said, nice bingo here. That scores a lot of points. It's going to give Bradley a nice big lead.
But Weird will come back for a lot of points
It
if
could,
Victor knows it. I
if he
think that's
knows it.
quite an advanced like level. I'm using air quotes here, but you can't see it. Like it's quite an advanced level word. I'm not sure. I don't really know anything about this player. I don't know how far down he's studied all the words, so it's not really known how deep his knowledge is.
Yeah, I definitely expect him to play some word alongside the N of novates
Yeah,
or novated, depending on what that blank is.
I feel like he's putting that down to try and help himself find a long word.
Let's see.
Did he see
He's going
wet-eyed?
to play. So he could play
Yeah, good.
WAIDE, and that is maybe slightly inferior to Weird, but
Good
very
second
close.
option. Good
Very,
second
very
option.
close.
Looks
Yeah.
like it's what, 5 off or something.
Yeah. It's not going to be far off. And of
Yeah.
course, you can see he's played it in barely a minute off his clock.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone running the leave values. IR is not even positive, and I'm pretty sure I actually is positive. So
One eye, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's a few off there, but I mean you have to know that word.
Wow. Yeah. Chat collectively having a clock related aneurysm. I mean, the two of us kind of are too. So we
Yeah.
don't judge you.
This is a lot.
Man, down into the 4s this
Oh my
early. There's so
god.
much game left.
Oh,
There's,
IR is 3. Wait, what? Why are there 2 incorrect? Yeah, that makes more sense. Because the
yeah.
R is pretty positive in general.
So
Okay.
you guys are suggesting Vow alongside the NE and O of novates. That looks perfectly fine.
What
It
is
should
wrong?
be down now. It should be down
Oh
soon.
yeah, that's a no-brainer.
If you don't see that, then you could play Wove underneath the N of Nonas, and that's a little bit worse, but you got to play something. And down goes Vow. Okay.
29. Okay, we've got a game on our hands.
So Victor with a very strange, unappealing group of tiles. The X, I guess, is kind of nice if he's able to keep it because of the Eye of Wade that he played previously.
Yeah.
So holding on to it wouldn't be the worst idea. I'm
Do
not
we
100%
know
sure what he should play, though.
if that blank is a D or an S?
I'm not sure
No.
we do. Maybe it was told to us. No. So we'll try to figure out what that blank is.
Try. Wow, fascinating.
So I think the idea behind this is to score a few points and keep that X
Yeah,
so that you
yeah.
can bomb that spot alongside the Eye of Wade.
Ugh.
Was there anything
I don't know.
that
It's
we
a
like
tough,
better?
it's super difficult spot.
Yeah.
We're stuck with the J.
Yeah, I don't like holding the J as well.
Could you change? Is that crazy? Yeah, it probably is a little nutty, but I don't know if that was the one.
Yeah. Strawberry Taco with a good question, Dave. What do you think?
What happens if someone runs out of time again? Oh yeah, sorry guys. So every time you go over, you lose 10 points for each minute. So it's not really that the end of the world. You won't instantaneously lose the game. Brad can afford to go a couple minutes over.
Yeah.
And as can anyone.
That being said, I think the reason that we're freaking out so much is that this is a close game. It feels like a game that could easily be decided by a small margin. And just having all of us been in that situation at various points, losing a game by less than 10 points when you've gone overtime by 1 minute is incredibly painful.
And you know what it is? It's that you're never on 2 minutes when you're 300 ahead. You're usually on 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So,
it's really not that bad. But yeah, the thing that I just said is what it kind of comes down to is when the time becomes relevant. It's usually because you've been thinking really hard because it's a really close game.
right.
Yeah.
So you guys pointed out with that play of Rundle by Bradley that perhaps Huntedly through the T of try would have been available holding
Hard,
H
hard.
blank. Tough find, certainly under pressure, even
Yeah.
tougher. But I would expect Bradley to somehow find a bingo here. Maybe not. I mean, there's definitely playable
Yeah,
bingos.
test hole. Sorry, didn't mean
Yeah.
to spoil it.
Yeah, there's that and
But
Posh Teen to the end of Rundle. There's definitely a couple.
yeah, lots and lots of options here.
Pest Hole looks great if
yeah,
he's
scores
able
a
to
ton.
spot it. Sheepdog, another one
Ooh,
suggested
nice.
by
Nice common word, very difficult to
by
see
the
with a
Adam.
P and a D in it
Yeah.
together.
Oh my God, he's down to less than 2 minutes here.
I'm just going to see what other PD words are available.
So meanwhile, Victor playing his Q, of course, he had QJX all on his rack at one time, and he has not drawn either of the vowels he needs to play that X alongside Wade. So he's going to have to keep that struggle going here as he or maybe he'll try to cash it somehow.
He looks to be in a lot of trouble, honestly.
Yeah, he really would have needed to draw an A or an E now. That would have been huge.
See, if this was chess, you would say like, "Oh my God, he's ahead on the clock," right?
Yeah.
So he's got that, but in Scrabble, that's just not as relevant.
Yeah, and instead so here's where the time is coming into play because he has that blank, which for me normally I take the longest
time to spend 6 minutes
when I have a blank, and he doesn't have that time to spend.
No, it's very hard to, especially with the awkward P and the H and the O, and it's kind of low to mid prop bingos that he may have not studied his whole life repeatedly. It's just tough, and he's probably just going to win this game anyway, so he just needs to play a word. I mean, he's got the blank, he's 50 ahead.
And all right, let's see. So we're going to see. Okay, so now we have our answer what the blank is. It's clearly an S, so that Victor will be able to play ISO. Yeah, I think it's got to be an S.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
No worries. So yeah, Victor continuing to. That looks like a pretty good score, frankly, to put that H on the double word.
But
will he draw an A or an E? Is the big question.
I don't think. Yeah.
Let's see what he draws. Nope.
Man, Brad is just chilling.
Yeah, there's an A.
Absolutely not bothered at all.
I know, it's actually eerie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to be calm under pressure, but I think he's taken it too far. I'd like to see some.
He's pushing it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little urgency on his part now.
Yeah. A bingo through the D is
look at the score. It is a 21-point game, and Bradley's about to get a -10 on the scoreboard.
He's about to go for a -20, I reckon, at least.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with the rest of the game. I mean, we're only probably 3/4 of the way through. There's still, he probably has 4 or 5 more moves to make in this game.
Yeah. Well, he's going to need to be thinking on Victor's time, but he's not going to get any of Victor's time because Victor is going to play AX in lightning.
It'll be down within 10 seconds. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So, Bradley is just inhumanly calm here, given the scenario.
I feel like he's definitely looking very calm, but his brain is probably working overtime.
True. So yeah, you guys are pointing out a bunch of bingos, seriated eateries to the E. Looks like he will get ready to play safetied. Excuse me.
Ooh.
That seems okay. It does create a little bit more of a challenge for Victor.
Yeah.
Victor was definitely ready to pop that AX down, and he may still
smash the AX. Oh no, it's got Rojax. Rojax plays for so much more.
Very
that's
nice.
a much better play, but I reckon he's going to continue the time pressure.
Yeah, if he's able to somehow play Rojax here and then give himself 5 chances to redraw an A or an E, that would be a phenomenal option.
Come on,
for
dude.
him.
You can find this. I believe in you, Victor Amartey. I don't know how to say that.
I'm sure you got it right.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening here.
Oh, this is hype. Come on, dude.
There's some adjudication that needs to happen. I'm not really sure.
Did Brad not know his clock was running? Because that would explain a lot.
Yeah, it would. But then again, I don't feel like maybe a challenge. Yeah. Challenging safetied.
So
Not
here's a question: can you weaponize the rules and go full hold on your opponent here to explain to some of the noobs in the chat?
so the idea being, if you're Victor, if Bradley plays safetied and you call hold,
Yeah,
which is our custom when you're considering challenging, saying hold is basically shorthand for hold off on drawing your new tiles while I think about
yeah,
challenging
yeah.
this move. Hold, and then make your move immediately and hit the clock
Yes,
to force Bradley to draw tiles with his
yes,
clock running instead.
yeah,
I mean, certainly not something I would do, but that's not the question. The question is that sort of, even if it's unethical, what do the rules say about whether you can do that
yeah.
or not?
Do the rules
Which,
change when you're in minus?
um,
It's
I,
quite rare.
I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? I don't. That wouldn't feel very good
No,
to do,
it would
but
be a dirty move.
yeah. But is it legally permissible?
Yeah.
So anyway, the clock is going to start for Victor in a moment, and he will have an option to either plop his X down where he was planning on doing it right alongside Wade, or will he look for a play to that S of safety, which frankly, if he does, and he
No.
is going to plop
He's
the
more
X
he's more
down.
interested in the time.
But the thing about it is that this does make Bradley's next move considerably easier. He knows he's going to have to play to that S as fast as he can. He should play something like floors basically
I feel
immediately.
like Victor needs that meme of that dude who's looking at the girl passing him by, like
Yeah.
time pressuring my opponent into going over.
Playing Rojacks and
Yeah,
winning the game.
exactly.
Yeah, that the classic meme of
Yeah.
that guy on the street. But instead, you can see Bradley does take another minute of overtime, so he will be minus 20 from what you see there now.
Can we see what's unseen in the bag? Someone
Yeah,
complained that it's frustrating. Sorry, I don't think it occurred to me or Will that it's that relevant here.
it's probably now time to take a look, and oh wow,
Smashing it
it's
down.
the end of the game. So yeah, that's where we're at. So it does look like Bradley, after all that angst of his clock usage, is going to come away with a much needed win here.
This is a good lesson to anyone that's watching. Again, I'm turning this into a lesson, which I really shouldn't be doing, but this is why you don't time pressure people.
It's a fair point. There's the upside and downside of time pressure,
Yeah,
right? Like, time pressuring is good if you can pull it off without really losing too much off of your optimal game.
yeah,
But if you're sacrificing a lot on the scoreboard and in equity to rush your opponent down, it might hurt you more than your opponent.
definitely. Get those sweet 20 points, though.
True. So after all that, Bradley almost taking 30 points, and you can see the score was close enough that a 30-point time penalty would have put him into a mere 3-point
Wow.
win here.
Wow.
So the time pressure was just, close enough, but no cigar.
Yeah, he almost got him.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we certainly got our
That was
wish
a good one.
with an interesting game.
That was very good.
Yeah, thank you answering the question by Budak for the link to the standings. We have that as a command in the chat there. So yeah, that was a really interesting game. There were a
Yes.
bunch of moves early that seemed like there could have been an aggressive approach versus a careful approach.
I like it.
It seemed like, though, you say I like it for strategic depth reasons, but it seemed like you might have, David, favored some of the more aggressive options there.
Yeah, definitely. I would, if it was me playing, but I'm not, but I would tend to play a more aggressive style. But I mean, that's easy to say from the sidelines. It's much easier when you're in the hot seat to cramp up a little bit and play a little bit tighter, or maybe these players just prefer to play like that, and that's fine too.
Yeah, there's definitely ample room for stylistic choice in this
Yeah.
game. I think, there is a certain school of thought that for a lot of these moves that a more mathematical approach can rule the day, but ultimately very few players are hyper mathematical when you're actually in that seat playing the game. A
Yeah,
lot of it does boil down to instinct and
absolutely.
style.
And
So
there's nothing wrong with playing to a style and not trying to emulate a computer. In fact, I think it's a little more respectable personally.
yeah, for sure. So great genius in the chat says Rojax, after which EXEA in the spot where you see it alongside Wade. That could have been possible, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he would have even drawn an E. I guess from his POV, there might have been an E available to draw, but Bradley already had it.
Mm,
So
mm.
I think in this particular case, while we agree that Rojax was likely a more winning play, it might not have gotten the job done for
No,
Victor
it
here.
probably would have just fallen short, would be my guess, but it would have certainly added a bigger sweat to the situation.
Yeah, and frankly, if you look at that clock, making Bradley sweat a
Yeah,
little bit more,
that could have just been enough.
9 seconds more,
Mm.
might have
Hmm.
swung things.
Yeah, and
So
it's not easy to block with an F.
anyway, when all is said and done, Bradley Whitmarsh gets a critical fourth win to keep his chances alive. Victor, of course, still plenty of chances of his own if he's able to win that last game in round 8.
All
And I
right,
guess
round 8. We
yeah,
we need to find a good cusp game for you guys.
absolutely. So again, if you guys are curious over the standings, you can query that by typing !LCQ in the chat and see which players are doing well. I'm sure there are a bunch of players who have essentially clinched their entry into WESPA by now, but I think what we will do is let our two players here clean up their game, and we're going to figure out the most exciting, impactful game to bring you guys in round 8, our final round of the day. Any final words before we cut to break, David?
See you soon, guys.